Hi, my name is Jessica Rowan, and this is my presentation on schools and sex education. Sex education aims to reduce the risk of potentially negative outcomes for sexual behaviors, such as unwanted or unplanned pregnancies and infection with sexually transmitted diseases, including HIV. Sex education that works, by which we mean that is effective, is sex education that contributes to both these aims, thus helping young people to be safe and enjoy their sexuality. If sex education is going to be effective, it needs to include opportunities for young people to develop skills, as it can be hard for them to act on the basis of only having information. The skills young people develop as part of sex education are linked to more general life skills. Being able to communicate, listen, negotiate with others, ask for, and identify sources of help and advice are useful life skills which can be applied to sexual relationships. Effective sex education develops young people's skills in negotiation, decision making, assertion, and listening. Other important skills include being able to recognize pressures from other people and to resist them, dealing with and challenging prejudice, and being able to seek help from adults, including parents, careers, and professionals through the family, community, and health and welfare services. Sex education that works also helps equip young people with the skills to be able to differentiate between accurate and inaccurate information and to discuss a range of moral and social issues and perspectives on sex and sexuality, including differing cultural attitudes and sensitive issues like sexuality, abortion, and contraception. Young people can be exposed to a wide range of attitudes and beliefs in relation to sex and sexuality. These sometimes appear contradictory and confusing. For example, some health messages emphasize the risks and dangers associated with sexual activity, and some media coverage promotes the idea that being sexually active makes a person more attractive and mature. It is important to remember that taking in a balanced way about differences and opinion does not promote one set of views over another, or mean that one agrees with a particular view. Part of exploring and understanding cultural, religious, and moral views is finding out that you can agree to disagree. Attempts to impose narrow moralistic views about sex and sexuality on young people through sex education have failed. Rather than trying to deter or frighten young people away from having sex, effective sex education includes work on attitudes and beliefs, coupled with skills development that enables young people to choose whether or not to have a sexual relationship, taking into account the potential risk of any sexual activity. Effective sex education also provides young people with an opportunity to explore the reasons why people have sex and to think about how it involves emotions, respect for oneself and other people and their feelings, decisions, and bodies. Young people should have the chance to explore gender differences and how ethnicity and sexuality can influence people's feelings and options. They should be able to decide for themselves what the positive qualities of relationships are. It is important that they understand how bullying, stereotyping, abuse, and exploitation can negatively influence relationships. Young people get information about sex and sexuality from a wide range of sources, including each other, through the media, including advertising, televisions and magazines, as well as leaflets, books, and websites, which are intended to be sources of information about sex and sexuality. Some of this will be accurate and some will be inaccurate. Providing information through sex education is therefore about finding out what people already know and adding to their existing knowledge and correcting any misinformation they may have. For example, young people may have heard that condoms are not effective against HIV or that there is a cure for AIDS. It is important to provide information which corrects mistaken beliefs. Without correct information, young people can put themselves at greater risk. Information is also important at the basis on which young people can develop well-informed attitudes about views about sexuality and sex. Young people need to have information on all the following topics: sexual development and reproduction, contraception and birth control, and relationships. Sexual development and reproduction is known as the physical and emotional changes associated with puberty and sexual reproduction, including fertilization and conception, as well as STDs and HIV. Contraception and birth control is what contraceptives there are, how they work, how people use them, how they decide what to use and not, and how they can be obtained. Relationships would be what kind of relationships there are, love and commitment, marriage and partnership, and the law relating to sexual behavior, and relationships, as well as the range of religious and cultural views on sex and sexuality and sexual diversity. In addition, young people should be provided with information about abortion, sexuality, and confidentiality, as well as about the range of sources of advice and support that is available in the community and nationally. Sex education that works starts early, before young people reach puberty, and before they have developed established patterns of behavior. The precise age at which information should be provided depends on the physical, emotional, and intellectual development of the young people as well as their level of understanding. It is important for sex education to begin at a young age and also that it is sustained. Giving young people basic information from an early age provides the foundation on which more complex knowledge is built up over time. They can also, when they are young, be provided with information about viruses and germs that attack the body. This provides the basis for talking to them later about infections that can be caught through sexual contact. The question is, does sex education at an early age encourage young people to have sex? Some people are concerned that providing information about sex and sexuality arouses curiosity and can lead to sexual experimentation. However, in a review of over 40 U.S. studies, it was found to be strong by evidence that such programs do not increase sexual activity. Some of them reduce sexual activity or increase rates of condom use or other contraceptives, or both. It is important to remember that young people can store up information provided at any time or a time when they need it later on. School-based sex education is an important and effective way of enhancing young people's knowledge, attitudes, and behavior. There is a widespread agreement that formal education should include sex education, and what works has been well researched. Evidence suggests that effective school programs include the following elements: a focus on reducing specific risky behaviors, a basis in theories which explain what influences people's sexual choices and behavior, a clear and continuously reinforced message about sexual behavior, providing accurate information about the risks associated with sexual activity, about contraception and birth control, dealing with peer and other social pressures on young people, using a variety of approaches to teaching and learning that involve and engage young people, using approaching it is provided by people who believe in what they are saying and have access to support in the form of training or consultation with sex educators. Formal programs with all these elements have been shown to increase young people's levels of knowledge about sex and sexuality, so that the average age at which they first have sexual intercourse and decrease risk when they do have sex. In addition to this, effective sex education is supported by links to sexual health services and takes into account the messages about sexual values and behavior young people get from other sources such as friends and the media. It is also responsive to the needs of the young people themselves, whether they are boys or girls, on their own or in a single sex or mixed sex group, and what they know already, their age and experiences. Providing effective sex education can seem daunting because it means tackling potentially sensitive issues and involving a variety of people like parents, schools, community groups, and health service providers. However, because sex education comprises many individual activities which take place across a wide range of settings and periods of time, it can help to raise public awareness of sex health issues.